Parents trust babysitters with the most precious thing they have, their children. But sometimes, a night that starts with laughter and games turns into pure horror. Tonight, 4 terrifying babysitting stories that will make you think twice before leaving someone alone in your home. A night in the basement. That night, I thought I was going to earn the easiest $100 of my life. We were all in the basement, me, my cousin, his friends, and the 4 little kids I was babysitting. Their parents had gone to a restaurant, leaving us with a mountain of pizza, video games, and soda. Around 10 o'clock, just as the youngest, 5-year-old Noah was falling asleep, I heard them. Footsteps, heavy, muffled, right above my head. A step. Another step. I counted the kids, Liam, Chloe, Sophie, and Noah. All 4 were right there. Their parents had warned me they wouldn't be back for a few more hours. My heart started beating faster. The door to the basement was ajar. "Everyone, into the workout room, now!" I whispered, my voice shaking like never before. They scrambled into the room, terrified, and I turned off the TV, the lights, and closed the door behind them. I propped it shut with an old chair and put 2 heavy dumbbells on top. We sat in complete darkness. Then I heard someone slowly coming down the stairs. The floorboards creaked under the weight. I covered Noah's mouth, who had started to whimper. "Quiet! It's going to be okay. We're together," I whispered, trying not to scare them any more than they already were. The footsteps stopped. The furnace room door suddenly opened, then closed. I held my breath, waiting. And then I heard the handle of the door we were hiding behind slowly turning. I pushed with all my might. The chair was creaking, but it held. The pressure was intense, as if someone really wanted to get in. I was ready to scream, to fight back. But luckily, everything went silent. I could only hear my own breathing and the children's fast heartbeats. And just like that, someone abruptly ran up the stairs and out of the house. When I finally dared to go upstairs, the rooms were turned upside down. A laptop, jewelry, and cash were stolen. That night, I learned babysitting isn't just about games and cartoons. It's also a fight for survival. The babysitter and the closet. Michael's parents told me he was a little strange and reclusive. He was 12 and spent most of his time in a large closet upstairs. "He just loves his toys," his mom smiled. I didn't think much of it at the time. The evening was calm. We ate dinner, watched some TV, and played video games. Michael was quiet but seemed happy. Around midnight, I put him to bed and said goodnight. I was just drifting off to sleep myself when a noise from his room woke me up. Plastic blocks were falling on the floor. I opened the door to check on him. The room was dark, and the floor near the closet was covered in scattered blocks. Michael was asleep in his bed as if nothing had happened. I quickly picked up the toys and went back to the guest room. But an hour later, I was overcome with fear. The light in the closet turned on by itself. I could see it glowing through the crack under the door, which was tightly shut. I thought it must be a short circuit, but then I saw children's feet under the door. They were covered in dust, but I could make out their outlines. They wiggled, as if someone was standing inside, shifting their weight from one foot to the other. Then I heard a low, quiet giggle. My brain screamed, "Run!" But I ran to the closet and yanked the door open. It was empty. Then, as I took a step back, the door slowly closed on its own, and the light went out. I rushed back to Michael, who was peacefully sleeping in his bed, and I lay on the floor next to him. I didn't close my eyes until morning. When his parents returned, they gave me the money, and I just said thank you and left. I didn't tell them anything. I knew they wouldn't believe me. But ever since that night, I dream of that giggle and the children's feet under the closet door. The stalker in the woods. I was 15, babysitting a boy named Mike, walking his dog through the woods behind his house. It was a beautiful evening, the air thick with the smell of damp earth and pine. Suddenly, the dog froze. His hackles rose, ears perked, and a low growl rumbled in his chest. Behind the trees, a man. He just stood there, motionless, staring at us. My blood ran cold. I yelled, "Can I help you?" He didn't answer. He simply turned and walked into the shadows of the woods, or so I thought. Minutes later, the dog barked again, this time behind us. A cold dread crept up my spine. I felt eyes on my back, a prickling sensation of being watched. I didn't dare look. I just grabbed the dog's leash and hurried us back to the house, pulling a confused Mike along with me. Later that night, as the house settled into silence, the strange noises began. Buckets clattered on the porch. Wind chimes clanged in the stillness. A rhythmic tapping began on the living room window. My heart pounded against my ribs. I crept to the window and pulled back the curtain. And then I saw him. He was there, through the glass, crouched low, his head tilted. He was staring directly into my soul. I grabbed the hunting rifle from the mantel, raised it to my shoulder, and let him see that we were armed. He didn't flinch. He didn't move. He just kept staring. Slowly, as if in a trance, he backed into the woods, his gaze never leaving mine until he vanished into the darkness. A week later, Mike's parents called. They had seen the man too, stalking their house from the trees, watching. They begged me to babysit again. I never did. The Blizzard and the Attackers. Valley Stream, New York. January. The wind howled in the chimney like a wounded beast, and the snow pelted against the windows like buckshot. I was 15, staying overnight at my neighbor's house to look after his son, Matthew. We sat together, listening to the wind snapping branches, feeling like we were completely cut off from the world. Around midnight, a sharp knock on the door broke the silence. I froze. The clock on my phone showed exactly 12. No one would be visiting in a blizzard like this. I went to the window, and my heart dropped. A man in a dark coat stood there, his face hidden by his collar. I took a step back and then heard a voice cutting through the wind's howl. "Open up! Open the door!" These words were followed by muffled pounding that made the door tremble. I tried to act brave, but my hands were shaking. I saw the shadows of a few more people moving behind the man. They weren't alone. With trembling fingers, I dialed 911. "Hold on, the snow might delay us. Hide with the child," the police officer said. I rushed upstairs, but before I could reach the stairs, I heard the sound of breaking glass. They had smashed a window and climbed inside. I heard their malicious laughter. Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway. I grabbed Matthew, who stood frozen in shock, by the hand, and we ran into his room. We hid in the closet, covering ourselves with old toys and boxes. The bedroom door creaked open. I hugged him, covered his mouth with my hand, and whispered, "Don't make a sound." The footsteps on the carpet came closer, closer. I could almost feel their presence. I was even afraid to breathe. I closed my eyes and pictured them opening the door, finding us. Suddenly, I heard the distant sound of a police siren and the loud shouts of police officers. The attackers fell silent, then scrambled down the stairs. I heard the front door slam, followed by a shout from outside. The attackers, 5 grown men, were caught by the police as they tried to escape through the shed. They were armed with crowbars and knives. To this day, when winter comes and a blizzard begins, I dream of that moment when they stood in the room and we were just a step away from death, squeezed into that closet. That voice in my head still echoes. We were together, and we survived.